Yes.
I don't know.
How do you do it?
We are live. At least it's telling me we are. So 18 people so far. Appreciate y'all coming in early. This is brought to you by Top Fishing Deals. So we always appreciate Top Fishing Deals. Don't look too bad. We got, what's going on, Matthew? We got a little bit of Hunter right there. She's the one picking the questions that we're going to answer. So we've been on the road for like a month straight now, and we've got an overwhelming amount of phone calls, but an overwhelming amount of texts, comments, and I have not been able to answer them all. So I'm going to try to do that now. Let people keep getting on here. It's been a good year. Just got back from Chickamauga. Made a top 10 there. Ended up in dead 10th place, though. We was on the road for the Southern Swing. A lot better off for the Southern Swing than we were for the Northern Swing. So it's a whole lot better when they came back down here south. No questions so far. Hunter's pulling it up on another thing, so I'm doing what I love to do. Absolutely, 100%. It's what I've always wanted to do. There's no doubt. Hunter is turned into the Welcher manager. That was the question. Bet you've been busy. I have been. That's why I'm doing this, to apologize for not answering all the questions that I'll be getting every single day on YouTube. Haven't been able to answer them all in a timely manner. So hopefully, we'll answer a lot of them today. We think Guntersville will be like now. Guntersville should be getting better and better every single day. When the grass starts dying, just consolidates down where those fish can get. The shad are moving, and when the grass dies, they just have less place to go. So it'll be a lot more fun on Guntersville here coming up soon than it was. So Levi says, what's your go-to baits during the fall transition in tough conditions? Well, number one, you kind of just want to cover the bases. You want something you're going to drag, something you're going to wind, and then usually a topwater. So you can kind of get away with like a chatterbait or a square bill or a spinnerbait. I usually have a square bill and a chatterbait, and then like a jig or something to flip and heavy cover, and then a topwater like a buzzbait or a frog. So just want to cover all your bases with the least amount of baits possible. Jig's coming out hopefully by January. Gamma fluorocarbon. He said, what do you think about Gamma? I've heard great things about it. I've always heard that it's almost impossible to break. Never used it myself, though, so don't know firsthand. Got to get Arkansas so we can catch some bigs. Arkansas has some awesome lakes for sure. I fished a few places in Arkansas. Fished Norfolk, and I think it's called Norfolk, something like that. And then Table Rock, part of that's in Arkansas, so not bad.
What power is it from?
No. Chick was not the hardest. So he said, was Chick the hardest tournament to stay focused, knowing there was a struggle? No, those are the ones we have to be focused the most because one bite is such a huge impact on the entire tournament. So it's kind of the easiest ones to stay focused because you know that any single bite is going to make your entire week. So talk with any new sponsors. I have been, we're trying to get everything lined up for next year. So yeah, definitely have been talking with some. What powers my frog rod? So it's a heavy action. I can't remember exactly how many. It's not a power. It's probably about like between a 5 and 6 power. It's probably somewhere in the middle of those two. But if you go to the Point Blank website, it's a 7.6 heavy. It tells you exactly how many grams it actually takes to load like the tip of the rod. So if you go to the Point Blank website, they spell it out like literally down to the gram of what it takes to load that rod. Let's see. Have I seen as much pressure on these lakes this year? No. I mean, this pandemic has people fishing more than ever. I'm talking about these lakes are getting absolutely pounded, and it's already a tough time of the year. So the lakes are getting more pressure than ever, and it's the worst month of the year traditionally in the South. So it ain't good right now, that's for sure. We're going to take a subscriber on the boat. I need to do that. I need to do some of that in the off season. That'd be a cool little video series doing some of that. So Max says, I've had you on my fantasy team, or M. Jones, not Mac, M. Jones, I had you on my fantasy team for the past 3 tournaments. You've been huge. I appreciate that. I'm glad we were able to catch some and help myself get some paychecks, plus help you get some fantasy points. That was awesome. Main bait to get you in top 10 last week. So on day 1, I think I caught all 5 of my fish flipping wood with the Missile Baits D-Bomb. On day 2, I caught 4 of my fish on a Spro popping frog and 1 flipping a full-size brush hog. And then on day 3, we didn't catch much of nothing. I think I caught 1 on a frog and 1 flipping. So top 10 was kind of between the frog and flipping baits, was kind of the both. So can't wait for the jig. Yeah, so the jig is going to be a good one. That's been my sole focus right now. We're not working on any other ones right now. The jig is the main one. I'm trying to get this one out and get it for sure. Have I upgraded to a Tundra yet? I have not. Fingers crossed for that. I want that to work out. Let's see. Use braid to fluoro on your spinning gear. I do. I usually use 20-pound braid to an 8-pound leader. If I'm throwing around heavy cover, I'll go to a 10-pound leader. So that's what I do as a standard is 8, and obviously heavy cover you got to bump it up a little bit. So you think about coming up west fishing the U.S. Open on Lake Mead next October. Toughest tournament you'll ever fish. Chickamauga was up there for sure, but I would actually like to fish Lake Mead. I was in Vegas for a while, drove out to Lake Mead, seen it a few times, never fished it, but I would definitely like to fish the U.S. Open. That'd be awesome. Jigs coming out in January. I do a little bit of hunting, not much anymore. I used to hunt a decent amount when I was like 15, 16. I don't do that much anymore. When can we catch another trick skipping lesson from Miss Hunter? As soon as I can get her out there and get her back out on the boat filming. So she, that was a good one. That's an underrated video. Hunter doing those trick shots was pretty awesome. Yes, he said, did you flip the bluffs at Chick? I did fish some. That was I didn't really get that bite going. I saw that Mike Huff did get it going. I did not, though. I tried that. You decided to get to fish the Bassmaster Classic. Yes, and yes, it is a dream of mine, but it's not. It's never seemed like a real attainable goal until like now we're like there. You know, I never seen myself actually fishing the Classic, but we're going for sure now, so that's pretty cool. Fork's going to be similar to Santee. I agree. He said, what knot on the braid to fluoro? I think it's called an Albright knot. Basically, I make a loop, twist it 7 times down, turn around 5 times back. Super small, smooth, super small knot, and it comes to the guys really, really well. It's been awesome to watch you do so well in the Coastas Opens and Nelly Lease. I was going to say last year, say hey to you at Wasp Bar, but after weigh in, but you look pissed. No, that was that tournament did not go well at all. That Super Terminal Watch Bar had the bites to do really well. Didn't put them in the boat, but that one wasn't good.
Watch that video. It was bad.
Yeah, that video is still up from Watch Bar. That was not a good one at all. But I wasn't too mad. I was the only person that caught a limit that did not make the final day. So not great. Your thoughts on this past year? Been a great year. Awesome. You know, it's been. Everything went the way I wanted to go. You know, we qualified for the Classic. We had some good finishes. We made some partnerships with some awesome companies like Top Fishing Deals, Fuji Point Blank, Untamed Tackle, Striker. That's what this whole thing is. This whole industry is about catching fish and making great relationships. So that's what this year was really supposed to be, was the foundation of building relationships with these companies and catching us some bass, getting good points, qualifying for the Classic. So this year's been all in all a great year. We like to see bass tourneys on sports betting depth. I bet if you down here in Alabama, some of these homemade apps, there probably are some. So yeah, it would be pretty funny. That's not as probably dialed in as some of these football and other sports betting apps are. I saw one that said, what's more exciting, a Royal Flush catching an 8-pounder? 8-pounder in a tournament is great. A Royal Flush doesn't matter to me at all. It's just whatever is the best possible hand in any given hand is effectively a Royal Flush. You know, if the board's not paired, you know, and there's no flush possible, a straight is just as good as a Royal Flush. It's the best thing possible. So to me, it doesn't matter. But an 8-pounder, you got one of them suckers jumping in a tournament. That thing is phenomenal. Let's see. Hurt your bait lure selection? No, you know, I have so many baits. He said, did COVID-19 hurt your bait lure selection? I got so many baits in the back of the truck. They're just duplicates. It never hurt me at all. I had so many, you know, stockpiled. So I'm all good as far as that goes. What lake is in your sights you've never fished? That's a good one. Lake Fork is going to be a cool one. But for the most part, I like going to these big shallow water lakes like Santee Cooper's awesome. A lake where people really spread out. Like Guntersville's not like that. There's community holes where people fish a lot. I like them lakes like Sabine River where there's so much water you can really spread out. That's where I want to go, places like that. But I don't really have one in particular. You should be the angler of the year. Need more True Series. So tournaments are calming down. We got like 2 weeks off. We'll probably film some True Series. So they'll be back out on the channel first. So we'll be good. Before we go to Lake Fork, we'll have some filmed. So won't be bad. Favorite square bill color? Depends on the time of the year. This time of year, I like a really muted down shad color, not a bright white shad color. And the same thing in the spring, I like kind of a muted down crawfish color unless it's super stained. If it's stained, chartreuse in the fall and bright red in spring. So that's what I do. Let's see. Has it been easier or harder than you thought to make the relationships with companies? So it's very hard to get in contact with them, but most of these companies are just guys that love to fish. You know, they're all about business, but they love to fish. So that's the deal is, you know, getting good contacts with good people that you want, you know, to work with. So it hasn't been as hard as it could have been. So let's see. Hampton Shull said, would you want to see Bassmaster go to Winyah Bay, South Carolina? Absolutely. But it does have one place where a lot of the boats stack up way down on the, I think it's the Cooper River. Lots of boats run all the way down there, and it fishes kind of small down there. So I would like to go back over there, but it does still kind of fish relatively small. Our $15 jackhammer chatterbaits worth the money over the elite chatterbaits $8. I actually like the $15 jackhammers, and as Corey Jones said that, and the Tackle Warehouse Custom, I believe, is better than the elite chatterbait. So if you want to save some money on chatterbaits, get the Tackle Warehouse Custom chatterbait. That thing absolutely catches them, got a good Yamakatsu hook in it. So that's what I like to do. What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done on the water nobody knows about? Well, fell off the boat on Champlain, but I think everybody knows about that. So I don't know. Everything I've done in the past little while has been filmed. So I couldn't really tell you for sure. I don't really know. Let's see. Let's see. No, the little dance. So I broke one off on Santee.
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet.
Not.
I broke like a 5-pounder off on day one of Santee, and I had done lost a 3-pounder, then I broke off a 5, and I already had a limit earlier that day. Hadn't had a bite in like 4 hours. Lost a 3, broke off a 5, and I just had this like crazy meltdown after I broke off a fish. So that was pretty embarrassing. But that is never going to see the light of day of YouTube. At least I hope not.
Somebody might convince me to post it on Instagram.
Nah, it ain't happening. Let's see. Matthew said, for someone not going through collegiate fishing tournaments, how would one get started in the industry and set up for success? Entrepreneur angler starting from scratch. Basically, you just got to catch them. You know, starting the BFLs, you're going to have an opportunity to fish a regional event every year that pays big money and has where it pays big money and they give away a boat and there's opportunity to go to the All-American, and then there's then from there you go to the All-American, and then you can work your way up to the Costas. But as soon as you get ready, you have to fish the Bassmaster Opens. It's a lot of money. It's going to cost you $10,000 to $12,000 a year to fish an entire circuit, but that's what you have to do if you want to try to make it to the elites or to the top tier level. So, but at first, start off fishing the BFLs. That's the starting ground, the proving ground for almost everybody that ever goes anywhere fishing. So, let's see. Seth Barrett said, hey, Kyle, I've been busy, but I've been trying to keep with you as much as possible. You do amazing things. Finally join the big leads. I appreciate you following along. I appreciate so many of y'all following everything that I do. It's awesome. Here's one. Geoff Gurney said, or Geoff Gurney said, does Miss Welcher ever outfish you? Be honest, sometimes. She absolutely does sometimes. She's really dialed in to make the least amount of casts possible and catch a fish. So if I get into an area and I've caught 3 or 4 quick.
No, before you even catch one, I could know. I know whenever they're about to bite.
No, whenever I've done caught 3 or 4 pretty quick, she'll be like, all right, give me that rod right there. I'm fishing with that one. She'll take that. I don't catch none for a couple hours, and she catches them. So Geoff, or Jeff, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. Woodruff said, you prefer a 9-spot like trolling motor. It's just less that can possibly tear up. So I've had a lot of issues with trolling motors all the time, messing up, and everything that you have, as much as I fish, it's going to tear up. It's going to fail from time to time. So that just takes one more element out of it, and I don't really need that spotlight trolling motor except for a few events a year. So I do need it whenever it's happening, but for the most part, I don't really feel like I need the spotlight trolling motor too much. Jesse Boyden said, best graph for beginners, you got to get the Helix. You got to get the like a Helix 10, Helix 9, something like that. Humminbird Helix, that's what you have to get. They got the best mapping. They've got really good side imaging. That's what you have to get. They have the best mapping. And whenever you're first starting off, the mapping is the most important thing. So Andrew Hay said, who's the funniest dude on the elites? Man, there's some characters on the elites. A lot of them, the funniest ones, I don't want to say this, I don't want to give anybody's names, but the funniest ones are the ones that are not trying to be funny and just had like a bad day and are going off. That's the funniest ones. And there's a few of them that fit into that category, but there's some that are just genuinely funny. But whenever they have a bad day, some of them really cut it on. It's pretty hilarious. Let's see. Jigs will be released in January. M. Jones said, have you thought about live scope for the Northern Bass? Yeah, every day since I got back from New York. I'm mad about that one. Man, that was not good. Seth Buttram said, how often do you use your electronics? Every single day. Literally every single day, I'm either using mapping the most, but I also use side imaging constantly. If I'm ever on the trolling motor, back, everything, I'm always using side imaging as much as possible. You never know when you're going to come across a brush pile or a rock pile or something that's going to have a big one on it that you might need, you know, in the end of the tournament. And a lot of times you can find some off-the-wall stuff that it only takes 2 or 3 casts to fish in a tournament. It's just phenomenal. And a lot of times I'll idle docks with side imaging, just find the 2 or 3 docks that's got brush on it or something like that. So let's see. Michael Shear said, what's your thoughts on the size of holiday swim baits for fall? So you just got to match the hatch. You know, there's 2 different ways to go about it. A lot of these lakes around here have giant gizzard shads, talking about 5, 6, 7-inch shads, and then super small thread fins. I'm talking about 2-inch shads. So I don't like to use anything in that 4 range. I usually go like 2, 2.5, or a 6-inch big bait. So I'm kind of polarized in that aspect. So Mercy, okay, Geoff or Jeff both said, or one of them said it's Jeff. So I was pronouncing it wrong. It is for sure Jeff. So Mercy Kingston said, what do you consider your home lake? Harding? Yes, Lake Harding. I was there today, throwing around my Untamed Tackle new prototype jig. Caught a couple on it. Got to do a little sight fishing. Been fun. 5 big bites or weed through 30 bites for a check. That's from M. Jones. That is, so usually when you're catching them the best, you're gonna get like 10 to 12 bites. And that seems to be the perfect number for quality and, you know, consistency. So I don't believe in the whole fishing for big ones, fishing for 5 bites. Usually if you're really on them and doing the right deal, you're gonna get you 12, 15 bites a day, and, you know, 5 of them be big. So that's what I go for, is 12 or 15 bites a day. Yeah, Mike Harris said Chick was really tough for you guys. It was extremely tough. It was bad. So much pressure. That lake gets so much pressure. It's unbelievable. So, you know, it's just, I don't know if it's going to bounce back this time. This year, the pandemic being shut down, people just pounded that lake. It wasn't good. Have a fish off this weekend on Guntersville or Wheeler? I'd go to Guntersville for sure. I think Wheeler's actually fishing worse than Guntersville right now. So Guntersville, just go out there and grind it out. You know, it'll be tough. You catch your 5, they're gonna be good ones usually. So Grindle Brown said, hey, like a cone head Mercury. I've heard mixed things. I have not heard mixed things. I have never heard of anybody say anything bad, except for first generation had a few shift actuator problems. Other than that, and I talked to a lot of fishermen, it has been overwhelmingly positive. It's hard to believe. I've got almost 600 hours on my boat right now, and I mean, I'm running 72 miles an hour in a Ranger 520L on Chickamauga the other day. So, and that's not down current. Down current, I'm running 73.5. So I ain't heard much bad about the Mercury at all. Oh, he said, well, I mean, is it fishing baits for Guntersville or Wheeler? That's Teg. Oh, Teg. So basically, I would rely on the grass, get in between Goose Pond and the big bridge right up from Goose Pond, and stay in those grass mats. That's going to be the best way to do it. That's going to be the best area. That is roll. Scott Clark said that's rolling in a Ranger. It is. It's definitely. I was going up river, going up to Hiawassee, going 71.8. That is pretty fast going against the current. Can't wait to see you win a trophy. I hope that happens pretty dang soon. That'd be phenomenal, but very difficult to do. What's your jig brand to look for? JRL said that, and Ranger 2021. So we're got the Ranger boat, about to order it most likely. We're trying to nail everything down right now, but the jig brand that I use is Untamed Tackle. That's the one that I use for my flipping jigs, swim jigs, everything, and my new custom jig is coming out. Let's see what's going on. How come we didn't fish the open at Neely? Henry Get Lucky Fishing said that. I didn't fish any opens this year at all. I figured the Elite Series is enough to fish. That is a lot of tournaments already and a lot of time away from on the road and traveling, a lot of money and expenses. So I did not fish any of the opens this year. I wish I would have, because Neely Henry's fishing super tough, but I'd love to be out there. Let's see.
What are your soft bait choices?
Soft bait, who said that?
Matthew. I wouldn't even try to
Okay, Matthew said, what's my soft bait company choices? I don't really have like a company that I, you know, always buy the stuff from. But for the most part, I like a lot of stuff from Zoom, and then my flipping baits and stuff like that I always use from Missile D-Bombs. And then, you know, I use a lot of different stuff. Honestly, I use a Zoom brush hog. I use a, you know, Reaction Innovation swim bait. I use, a Zoom chunk, but then I might use a net bait chunk. And then, so I just kind of do everything that I want to do, with all the different brands. I don't really have just one that I constantly am, using everything from.
JRL wants to know what company is building your jigs.
Oh, Untamed Tackle's building the jigs. Yeah. So that's the deal. They're going to be, I love them. I'm in love with them. Caught someone today, so I cannot complain. How'd you like Armco Park? I don't know where Armco Park is. Where's Armco Park, Hunter? I have no idea.
What are your pre-thoughts about Fork?
Fork, it's going to be a tough one. Mercy Kingston. So pre-thoughts about Fork, it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. But I'm excited to go. I'm already in the Classic. I really get to swing. I really get to swing at this one and try to do what I want to do to catch some big ones. So it's going to be fun. Go down there and catch some, giant fish, hopefully at least catch 1 or 2 during the tournament. So I think they're going to set up a good for me. There's going to be a lot of shallow fish. There's going to be some offshore fish that's not going to set up too good for me, but for the most part, should be a fun one.
Somebody said Hunter eating. I'm not eating. I'm painting my nails.
Yeah, she's painting her nails, not eating. She's get over here in the video. Let's see what we got. Think you'll make a top 10 on Fork and lock in ROY, possibly AOY. Top 10 is what it's going to take. We have to be in the top 10 come day 4, and we got to have the right people do well to lock in AOY or Rookie of the Year, because Austin Felix has been absolutely smashing them this year. So it's been tough. Can you please share some tips for Lakeview Fall in January? Garrett Cromer said that. I have a high school event there in January, sitting 13th out of 256 AOY. January's going to be tough. It's all about water level there. If the water level is low, there'll be a lot of offshore fishing going on. If the water level is high, what? If the water's high, you can get up there shallow, fish the reeds, fish the grass. But if the water's low, brush piles are going to be good, docks are going to be good, the deeper grass is going to be good, but the fish are going to kind of stay down. And that water fills up and gets muddy, they head straight to the bank. Matt McCluskey said, got to come up to Virginia and fish with Jesse and the boys, and let's go. I'm ready. But it might be getting too cold up there. I'm from Alabama. It's getting cold now. Driving north sounds like a bad idea. Y'all might have to come down here and fish where it's warm, and we got big spotted bass, big largemouth bass. So, we might have to turn that around. Y'all come down here and fish some of these awesome Bama lakes.
The soldier said Armco Park was a small lake you fished in Ohio. Did we fish there?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. We filmed with Midwest out there. That was awesome. That was a cool place. Very, very cool place. Filmed with Midwest Outdoors. That was awesome for sure. I like that little place. Small, though. How do you split your practice time between, Jeff Woodruff said, how do you split your practice time between riding and looking versus fishing if it just depends on the lake. If you're on a place like Guntersville, it's got these huge grass mats, you really have to fish a lot and try to dial in where the fish are sitting. But if you're on lakes like Santee or something, you're looking for special little deals, and you can really ride around and kind of mark it and come hit in the tournament. So you don't have to idle as much on the lakes where the stuff is more obvious, but places where the dominant cover is where it's going to be one is overwhelming, you have to do a lot of fishing. So, you kind of got to different by every single lake you go to. Carl Devaney said, how many moves you want to make in a normal tournament? More than I should. Probably an average day, 30 to 40 different stops. If I'm really rolling, I'll do more than that, probably 55, 60. But sometimes I'll pull up, make 1 or 2 flips to a tree, pull the trolling back up, and ride on down the lake. So it don't take literally 3 minutes. Bass big, and I see something about poker. Got to answer this one. My poker brother, that is cool that you do that on the side. Why not take money others are willing to give away? Others are willing to give away. I'm so pumped you're doing good in the least Wood. Keep it up. I appreciate it. Appreciate the positive feedback always. Let's see. Johnny Weaver said, how are you on points? Hoping to get the fish to Classic. We're doing really good on points. It looks like right now we're in the Classic. I don't know what could happen to shake it up. I think we're going to be in the Classic pretty good, though, so it'll be nice. Has the publicity, Yankee Soil said, has publicity affected you, or do you just do you? Have affected the family? Not much publicity so far. I'm still relatively not very well known, other than here and there getting a person that says, love the YouTube channel. So hasn't changed very much at all. If I changed from this much publicity, it wouldn't be good. Yep. Derek Moore said, hope the Elite Series comes back to lacrosse. I bet my checking account on you to win it. That would be a fun one to come back up there to lacrosse. Throw a frog all day, every day, 3 days of practice, 4 days of the tournament. Don't throw nothing but a frog. That would be fun. Jamarcus Nance, Batman or Superman? Batman for sure. He's just a rich dude with a fancy belt, but Batman for sure. Ever since I was growing up. Bitty Bass said, how many guys throw baits that aren't their sponsors? Every single one of them. Like, just no company makes the perfect everything. And they're mostly open with that. You know, overwhelmingly, though, people do believe in their sponsor baits. That's just how it is. But no company makes the perfect everything. Like, if you want a certain thing, it has to come from other brands most of the time. Let's see. Jesse Boyden said, I think watching you and Dust Connell fish would be funny. Yeah, I would be down to do that. Let's go get some of them giant spotted bass, because the spotted bass I catch are about this big. Spotted bass he catches are about outside the screen. So, yeah, for sure. But it probably would be funny. Have you ever fished Lake Hampton Shoals? Have you fished Lake Wiley, South Carolina, North Carolina? Do you have any tips for it? Any tips in early November? I have never fished it, but I will tell you early November is time to pick the top water up and not put it down. 2 baits. Buzz bait, shaky head. That's it. That's all I will be throwing early November. Let's see. Mercy Kingston, you looking forward to going back to Champlain? I hope we go back every single year. That lake is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I wish we could go to Champlain all the time, like 4 tournaments a year. That place is awesome. Let's see.
How do you handle family while you fish the elites?
Do what now?
How do you handle family?
How do you hunter handle? Okay, Matthew said, how do you hunter handle family while you fish the elites? So we don't have any kids yet, but overwhelmingly our entire family is all for it. They're all in. They want me to do this more than anything. From everybody is all for it, trying to help as much as they possibly can, trying to push me to do it and rooting for me. So they all are very, very understanding, and they are all trying to, you know, push me in the right direction and help me all the time. So yeah, it's not hard. They're making it super easy on me. Let's see what's going on. In your opinion, who is the best all-around angler on the Elite Series?
Kyle.
It's hard to I don't know, man. You see some of these guys absolutely catch them everywhere you go, every single year. You know, it's got to be somebody like, I don't know. You know, Scott Canterbury won AOI last year, and he was almost winning it again this year. That's hard to argue with. But you know, he's not the best smallmouth fisherman. But you know, usually there's the same guys, not the best smallmouth and the best largemouth fisherman. So I don't know. I really and truly do not know. Brian Hejewski said favorite striker ice suit. So the one I'm wearing right now is the Adrenaline. That is the one that's got all the crazy camouflage with the big red striker on the back. It's like the right thickness for, you know, it doesn't get wet at all. And it's, yeah, that's my rain suit. That's what he said, right?
Ice suit.
Oh, Striker ice suit. I have the Predator, but luckily, Striker ice Predator suit. Luckily, I haven't had to wear that at all this year. Super thick, super insulated, and I've been able to get away with the Adrenaline suit the entire time this year. So I haven't had to put on that super thick one. Luckily. Kyle Hollywood Welcher. I don't know about that. I'm Kyle Bama Welcher. Chad Turner, it's been an awesome year following you on tour. I appreciate everybody following. It's overwhelming. Like, there's so many people. I think it's awesome. Brought from Tackle Talk Podcast. Yep, Tackle Talk Podcast did that earlier in the year. That's awesome podcast. They're also sponsored by Top Fishing Deals. So shout out to the Tackle Talk Podcast. Awesome dude over there. Let's see. Any recommendation for a bait cast for around $150? I was thinking 13 Fishing Ordnance C, Shimano SLX, all the way, 100%, $100 reel Shimano SLX. It does not get any better than that. 100%. Any idea when Nicholas Wilson said, any idea when the 2021 Elite schedule will come out? Not yet. I'm sure they're working on it as fast as they possibly can, and I'm ready to see it. I'm waiting with bated breath, I guess they'd say. So I'm ready to see it. I want to see where we're going next year.
Somebody said how much of a loan would I need to buy every bait you fish with?
Well, every bait I fish with, there's like 3. It's like a Spro frog, a D-bomb, and a jig. I throw a square bill once a year, a pointy toad sometimes. I think you can get away with like $30. You can probably buy every real bait I fish with. I'm pretty simple. Benny Bass said SLX for sure for the money. 100% SLX is the way to go. And I'm not sponsored by Shimano. I'm just telling you that is the best for the money. Do you like to fish? Scotty Matson said, do you like to fish at Lake Hartwell, South Carolina? Absolutely not. Every time I've been there, it has got my number. It got my butt kicked every single time I've ever been there. If you could only throw one bait, Fish with Felt said that it's gonna be a frog. We gotta have some fun sometimes. Fishing's supposed to be fun, so gotta be a frog. Gotta go throw a dang frog. Ryan Crowley said, "How are you feeling about Fork?" I'm ready to go. Tons of cover. Heard the lake's in a drawdown right now, so it's gonna be kind of difficult to run around a little bit. But I'm super ready to go. I'm ready to get down there and see what we can do. Giant fish. But every day we wait, the fishing's getting a little bit better because it's later in the year. So, but I'm excited. I'm ready to go. What music you listen to when you head into a tournament? That's polarizing. Sometimes I listen to Eric Church. I might listen to Eminem. I might listen to Kevin Gates. Everything. Or who?
Meatfuss.
Or Hunter Fuss. Yeah, Hunter Fuss is the most common for sure. Let us know when if you get ready to sell your custom rods. Terry Pettiford said that. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I might. So,
Mark used to say, "Have you ever been to Fork?"
do I know?
Have you ever been to Fork?
Never been to Fork. Never have. So I was reading this comment from Michael Shears, and then he said he had a buddy that fishing tournaments against him. I never heard of you, and I'm his top angler. So he was running his mouth. I told him to walk over there about 40 yards. He'll cast a frog in your mouth. That's what I was reading when I was intrigued. That is hilarious. Cast a frog in your mouth, son. You ever fish a chatterbait? I keep a chatterbait tied on at all times. So always, for sure. Let's see what's going on. Will you use your jig to pitch and swim a little bit? It's not going to be the normal swim jig because I throw a swim jig in heavy cover with braided line. So I like the Untamed Tackle Punisher for that a little bit better, but I will swim it from in between docks and stuff like that because it's super compact, super small, looks like a little bluegill. So I actually caught one on it today swimming, actually. What's the most productive, long cast or short ones? That's an interesting topic because I do something different than everybody else on that. Mike Wall said that. Most productive, long cast or short ones. I think short ones, okay? I have drove straight over the top of bedfish with my boat, and as long as I don't hit the trolling motor, I don't spook them. Literally, the boat can go over their head. They don't get spooked. What does spook them? We make a long cast, big splash. So I get closer to the cover than almost anybody else, and I try to get the bait in there quieter, more quietly, and more accurately than everybody else can. And I can do that because I'm closer. So I make, more precise and quieter casts. So I feel like I get more bites for doing that. So for me, 100% short cast, way better than long cast, and you don't lose as many. You set the hook, reel them, put them in the boat. It's like 2 seconds, really. So not long casts are not the way to go. Let's see. Any modifications to a chatterbait? I do not. I don't change anything at all. I trim the skirt sometimes. Sometimes I'll thin the skirt down to super clear water. But for most part, straight out of the box, throw it. Do you ever use an 8-to-1 reel? How do you adjust for the lack of winching power? That's from Ryan Murphy. I do not find there's a lack of winching power. If you want to, you can upsize the handle. And what that's going to do is you got a bigger handle. You're going to have more leverage. For the most part, I use an 8-to-1 on a frog, and I can absolutely ski them to the boat out of the heavy cover. I don't have the problems. I've heard other people have that problem. I've never seemed to. So for me, I use an 8-to-1 whenever I can get away with it. Let's see. Paul Shaky said, "How was the feeling of relief of choosing to fish the elites over FW after news of MLF Bite and FW Cup going away?" Yeah, as soon as I qualified for the elites, there was no chance I was fishing the FW. I wanted to fish them both, but couldn't even hardly get enough sponsors to fish the elites. So stuck to the elites and only fished that. Yeah, I already knew that was happening. That was pretty, most people in the industry knew that the MLF buyout was happening. So as far as the elites, it just made it that much easier to pick. But MLF does have, some great fishermen. They're trying to do the best they can do over there. And that Bass is doing the same thing. They're trying to do the best they can do. And that's all you can ask from somebody is they trying to improve every single day, every single year. They're trying to be better than they were last year. And I do believe MLF's doing that. And I do believe Bass is doing that. So no hate from either side. Let's see. What power on your 7'3" rod are you pitching around your plastics with? If I'm flipping around a Cinco, specifically, it's a medium heavy on a very light wire hook. If I'm flipping around a jig, I'm going to go with a heavy always. And most of the time, though, if I'm pitching and not casting, I'm going to be using my 7'6" heavy point blank that I use all the time. What's your favorite? Bass Every Day said, what's your favorite type of frog for skipping docks? As soon as I see frog, that's the one I got to read. I use a Spro Popping Frog 60, the standard one. It skips extremely well. It draws fish from a long way, and it gets a lot of bites. So not bad at all.
Scotty Matson said, "What's your favorite Zoom?" I know that one.
What is it?
The ultraviolet speed.
Ultraviolet speed crawl. That's it. Put it on the back of every single jig, and it skips like crazy. Do you have any tips for someone that's going to start fishing the open this coming year and try to qualify for the elites? I don't, man. Just do the best you can do. Never try to be too locked in to anything. Make adjustments on the water all the time. That's what it takes, to do, to qualify for the elites. That's what it takes. You have to make adjustments on the water. Look at that. I seen a pistol grip question. William, let me go back up. William Laws. I'm old. Why does nobody use a 5.5 to 6 foot pistol grip rod anymore for underhand roll cast? Basically, some people still do. I see it from time to time. For the most part, you can just generate more power whenever you have both hands. Use it as actually leverage, and you can make an underhand roll cast with both hands and generate a ton of power with very little wrist movement. And whenever you have a longer rod, it's easier to get the fish out of the cover a little bit better. So some people still do use those short rods, but for the most part, a longer rod, you just get more leverage, and the rods are getting so much lighter now that it's better to do that. So that's just my opinion. You can still do whatever you want to do. Do you feel that color really matters when chunking a frog on a mat or more profile? 100%. It's all profile. The color does not matter at all. It's all profile and speed. There's a certain speed every single day, and there's a profile they like certain times of the year. So it's all about the speed and the profile, nothing to do with the color. So Mike Harris said, if you're doing the bass schedule, would you have fall tourneys? If I was doing the bass schedule, that'd be 20 tournaments a year. That'd be 24 tournaments a year, 2 every single month from January to December, 2 tournaments every single month if I was doing the bass schedule. So 100%, I do them winter, spring, summer, fall, all year round. 20 tournaments. That would be my bass schedule. Let's see. Scotty Matson said, how do I convince someone to fish? You take them out there, put a buzzbait on, let them catch one fish on a buzzbait or a whopper plopper, and then you can't convince them not to fish. They'll absolutely fall in love with it. Green Fishman said, did your accuracy with skipping lures come slowly over the years? Was a specific thing that really helped? I would go out there and skip docks all day long whenever I was younger. And I did it today. I got back from Chickamauga, and I felt like my skipping was just not where I wanted it to be on Chickamauga. It could have been fatigue for fishing 3 weeks in a row, of 7 days a week, but I couldn't skip under the bushes. I couldn't skip under the docks if I wanted to. I went to my home lake today, one rod out. It's my new jig, and I said, I'm going to skip docks. I don't care if I get a bite or not. I'm going to skip docks until I get my skipping back. And it took me about 30 minutes, and I was back, rolling it just like I wanted to. So it kind of came fast whenever I figured out how to skip. The accuracy, came pretty quick, but it just kind of improves over time and over time and over time. So let's see. Jason Walden said Pro Tour someday. I'm not talking about the trolling motor, but the Motor Guy Tour Pro, I have one. I just prefer to use the regular Motor Guy Tour for shallower lakes. It's just a little bit quieter, and just less possibility of things going down. Are you unable to talk about location history and events, or do you just like to keep those secret? Because I really feel that Hiwassee would have put more weight in the boat than most guys. Benny Bass said that. Because I really feel like the Hiwassee would have put more weight in the boat than most guys. So the Hiwassee was not fishing good that week either. And it was getting a lot of pressure from us tournament guys. There was an overwhelming amount of the field was fishing in the Hiwassee. And I was as well. I don't know who caught the biggest bag out of the Hiwassee. I caught 14.5 out of there on day 2, but for the most part, it was fishing extremely tough. Even up there, it was not on at all. I went up there on day 3, didn't even catch a limit. So it wasn't good by any means, but I did fish up in there. Yeah. Have you used the new Metanium or new Corrado 70 MGL? My new skipping reel is the new Metanium MGL. Love that sucker. I think it's awesome. Let's see. M. Jones said, do you feel DC reels are an advantage? Absolutely not. I do not feel like they're an advantage at all. They have their place, but they don't even really help that much. To me, I don't believe. Derek Moore said, this is a big bag masterclass. Absolute gold. I don't know about that. Let's see. Yeah, Benny Bass said, I would never expect the Hiwassee be getting slammed. It was getting absolutely slammed. Like it was getting crushed. Adam said, do you think there's a rod power in action that works for both square bills and chatterbaits? Thanks for doing this. Can't get enough of your content. God bless. Yeah, so if you're going to throw a 1.5 square bill, you have to use a medium moderate. And it all comes down to the gauge wire of the hooks. It doesn't matter about what the bait is. It matters about how big around the hook is, what the gauge wire is. So if it's on like a 2.5 square bill with a big hook, you can actually throw it on like a medium heavy fast rod because the hooks are so stout. But if you're throwing, you know, a 1.5 or we'll call it DT6 or something with super thin wire hooks, you have to throw it on a medium, moderate rod where you're going to bend the hooks out. You're going to rip a hole in the fish's mouth and they're going to lose them. So you just have to always scale the power and action of the rod to the gauge wire of the hook. Can fish get COVID-19? It seems like they all got it. Austin said that. It seems like every fish in Chickamauga has COVID-19 and they are social distancing. At least from my Ranger, they definitely are. Hampton Shull said, hey, I think the 2021 Classic will play out. Bed fishing, I believe it's going to be a big time bed fishing deal. Let's see. Illuminathan said, if you were cocky and said doot doot, you would have a G-man thing going on. I don't even know what that means, but doot doot, I guess.
Don't say that.
Oh man. Yep. So does your gut today say bigger fish baits or go fish like your regular waters? William Law said on Lake Fork, does your gut say today go bigger fish baits or bigger fish waters? So this time of year, the big fish bait deal doesn't work as much. I kind of try to go out there pre-spawn. Yeah, big profiles catch way bigger fish. In the fall, you kind of just want to go catch like 25 fish a day or at least 10 or 15 fish a day. Get as many bites as you can and hope 2 of them are 5-pounders. So that's the kind of the deal there is we're just going to try to, you know, catch as many as we possibly can, cull up, have a good finish. That's the hope anyways. M. Jones, Spro needs a Welcher fraud. They do for sure. Already got the idea for a couple. So let's get that ball on the road. Gregory Coe said, when you fished the James River, did you catch all your fish in the last 3 hours of low tide? I caught on day 2, I think I caught 3 of my fish on like the last 15 minutes of almost dead low tide. For the most part, I was catching them kind of here and there all day. Just found one awesome bush late in the day on day 2 that made me catch like a 4-pounder and 2.5. So that was pretty awesome. Let's see. Dalton said, been watching you from the start, Bassmaster. Glad to see your awesome year. Thank you. I appreciate it. Been an awesome year for sure. Let's see. Top Notch Fish said, are you going to come north to New York Lakes and practice for smallmouth for the upcoming year? Yes, and I've already got the deal worked out with Taku Ito smallmouth hammer. Dude's awesome with his dang electronics. We're going up there early. He's going to show me how to catch some smallmouth. It's going to be fun. Go up there and fish some of them Great Lakes with him. Ryan Crowley said a lot of elite guys seem to team up. You have anyone you're getting close with, work with? That's not me. I don't want to do that. A lot of guys do team up. I'm actually 100% all against that. I don't think you should share information with other anglers, but a lot of people do, and it's not illegal. So I understand, but it's not a team sport. I don't want to share info. Don't want anybody sharing info with me. Because if somebody tells me something, it makes me not even want to go there. So I don't even want you to tell me. And I don't want to tell you something because I don't want you there. So, you know, it just doesn't work for me. It's not my deal. I don't want to do it. Let's see. Any other hobbies than fishing and poker? That's about it. I just chill. Play poker a lot on my phone a ton. Fish a ton. I ain't got time for nothing else. I'm a coffee connoisseur. I get up every day, make sure I got some good coffee. And other than that, it's fishing or play poker. That's it. What's your favorite tidal water fishery? DS Fishing said that. James River. I love it. I'd love to go back. So Garrett Cromer said, when you're in a tournament, do you go for big one or do you go for limit and then, or for a limit, then go? So basically, I just always am trying to catch as many fish as I possibly can and hope a couple of them are a big one. That's just what I do. I don't, you know, I don't try to target big ones or little ones. I just try to, you know, catch as many as I possibly can. Kim said, you need to put all your old videos back up. So they're all coming back up now. Chickamauga's done. All the old videos are going to come back up tonight. I will do it. I'll put them all back up. So for sure. Bass Assassin said, in dirty water, when throwing texture creature bait, do you ever add a bead under the weight, give us some clink sound? I do not. I understand. And if you want to do that, that's fine. I just do not do that. So I can definitely understand why you would. I just don't. So I can know he's going to be getting in contact with you, try to acquire this content for Bass U. Come on, let's do it. NF Fishing said, what's your biggest 5-fish limit ever? I caught 6 fish one time for 31. I believe it was 31. I've caught 4 25-pound bags and probably 10 or 12 24-pound bags. So, but I think just under 26 was my biggest one ever, I believe, in a tournament, that is. Obviously, in practice, you catch some giant bags, but in a tournament, caught almost 26 in a ABA tournament 4 years ago on Eufaula. It was like 25, 85 or something like that. Won the tournament, ABA weekend series, so almost 26 pounds. Yep, Benny Bass said, want to see the 8-pounder on a frog. Well, yeah, that video will be coming back up soon for sure. So Brent Spencer said, thanks for bringing a new positive spark to the Elite Tour. A lot of the guys are positive, but I appreciate it. I'm glad you think that. It is, I'm glad to be there for sure. 100% happy to be there. Hunter looks like she had her hair done. Yeah, I did that. That's me.
My hair's always done. And you don't.
Her hair is always done. MLF Bass Pro someday? Nah, not for me. That's not. I'm on the Elites now, and I don't have any reason to go to MLF. I don't want to go there. I want to stay on the Elites for sure. And I don't feel like it's an upgrade. I feel like they're dead even. I feel like MLF is right there with the Elites. So for me to go over there, it would just be a change. It wouldn't. I don't. In my opinion, it would not be an upgrade. So I'm on the Elites forever unless we get kicked off, which hopefully we don't. What's your 2 favorite vibrating crankbaits? Number 1, Lucky Craft LC 1.5, and then a Spro Little John, the little one from Spro. That's it, the little bitty one. That sucker catches on big time. Steven Kaminsky, Spro sponsorship for next year. It's already started. Started for this year already. So hopefully for next year it'll keep rolling. It'll be all good. AWP Dragon Lore said, nah, BPT kinda whack. Kinda whack. Let's see. Bitty Bass said, you look back every year and think, how wow, I'm such a better angler than I was a year ago because I do it every fall. I do think that, but at the same time, I think back and I'm like, maybe I'm not any better than I was. I just think that because I see. So just because you see the mistakes you made doesn't mean you're not going to make the mistakes again. And that's what we judge our past on, is the mistakes we made. That doesn't mean that we have fixed those mistakes. That just means that we recognize them. So I don't know if I'm improving or if I just recognize my mistakes. Hopefully a little bit of both. So Justin Cook said, you throw half-ounce chatterbait most of the time, and why so are 3/8? I can fish it faster and get it lower in the water column. So I can fish it 3 or 4 feet deep and still reel it relatively fast. So, dude, killer idea. Watching your hook set from the start and now knowing you're a coffee junkie, you need your own brand called Jacked. I think Jacked has a Jack Baits, but for sure, Jacked Coffee Company. William Law said, I meant 2 favorite trap styles, sir. I don't got one. I throw the Spro Ruka Shad. That's the only trap I've ever thrown, ever. And don't ever catch nothing on either. I don't ever catch nothing on the trap, ever.
Captain Schultz said, once you're in the Elites, how do we talk?
So whenever you're in the Elites,
It's different this year,
yeah, whenever you're in the Elites, every 2 years, they take your points, and if you're in the bottom 10 in points, you get called out. And that's terrible. But that's terrible. That's terrible, but that's what it is. And after you've been there for longer, you got a 3 year. So 3 years, they take your results, and if you're in the bottom, you're out.
But this year they're not.
This year, because of the pandemic, everybody is, staying. So your fish, Ray Roberts in the spring lost 25-pound bags that time of year. I've heard that. I know it's not as good as some of the other Texas lakes, which other Texas lakes it takes 40. So 25 pounds sounds definitely, good. Will you stay with the Ranger, upgrade to a Skeeter? I don't like the way you worded that. That don't even make a lot of sense.
What?
Corey Allen said, will you stay with a Ranger or upgrade to a Skeeter?
Oh, upgrade.
Skeeters are great boats, 100%. Rangers are great boats, 100%. But I don't think any one of them is upgrading on each other. There's like 5 brands that are literally neck and neck, 100%. So
Derek Moore says that's the saddest call ever.
saddest call ever, dude. That is, I'm for sure. I agree 100%. William Law said EWG or round bend troubles on cranks. Round bend all the way. Number 1 reason for that, EWG, if they're eating it good, the EWG hooks them inside the mouth. But EWG doesn't snag them on the outside of the face. A round bend, you can snag them. You can snag them in the tail, the dorsal fin, the outside of the face, and get them to the boat. EWG, you cannot. You don't snag them on EWG. And if you pay attention whenever you're fishing with them, you'll notice that. A round bend, you hook them everywhere. EWG, you only hook them in the mouth, but when you hook them in the mouth, you don't lose them. So I throw round bends because if I hook one in the tail, I want to land that sucker. What do you use to decide what color frog you're going to throw? Just my feeling. I usually ask Hunter which color because I don't really think color matters that much. If I had to pick one, I would just throw black all year because it looks like a shadow and I don't think I can tell what it is. So I don't think it really matters color that much. Is Angler of the Year, Rookie of the Year on your mind? 100%. I want to win Rookie of the Year bad. I want to win Angler of the Year bad, but at the same time, I go out there and I try to make the best decision with the information that I have on the water. So I'm not thinking about it when I'm on the water at all. I'm only thinking about what decisions I got to make to catch another bass. So yeah, it is definitely on my mind, but it's not something that I'm worried about constantly on the water.
SB said I heard I'm making a trip for them.
SB, come on down, man. Let's go catch some big spotted bass. Or big largemouth. That's my deal. I like largemouth better, but we got super close to some awesome spotted bass lakes, like just an hour away. So my little brother actually caught a 4.5 or 5 pound spotted bass just last week. That's a giant spotted bass. What you just said about ram, Joey, aka Stacker, said what you said about ram ends might just be the most important thing I've heard in a while. 100%. A lot of times, actually, guys will use alternating a round bend on the front or on the back, because if you think about a rattle trap, the line tie is right over the front hook and the back is like this. So if you hit a fish with the back hook, it spins around. But if you hit a fish with this hook right underneath the line tie, you can snag them. So they use a round bend for the front hook, EWG for the back hook, because if they eat it good, they got the back hook in there. And if you snag them with it, it's going to be on the front hook usually because the back hook pendulum. So, people change it for sure. What line do you use flipping cattails? Usually in cattails, I'm going to use fluorocarbon, a 25-pound fluorocarbon, mostly.
So what are you watching on Netflix? American Horror Story.
I ain't watching that.
All the scary movies on Netflix, but Kyle would not watch them.
I don't like.
He just watches YouTube.
I just watch YouTube for sure. I watch mostly poker videos on YouTube. I don't watch Netflix that much.
My movies off.
Yeah, I don't like scary movies. To me, I'm not scared of them. They're just pointless. They have no plot. They don't make you think. Literally, the same woman runs from the same man for like 45 minutes, and then she might get away or she might not. Yeah, I got no idea. So I get tired of watching that stuff. Hampton Shoal said, "What's your PB spotted bass? 5 pound on the dot. Caught him on a frog off a brim bed in a BFL event on Lake Mitchell. Skipped underneath the bush on the brim bed, and he just came and glued on a 5-pounder on a frog."
Favorite poker hand? Luke Aaron and John Burgess said, "Who's your favorite poker?"
2 people, Luke Aaron and John Burgess. Favorite poker hand, 9-7 of clubs. Favorite hand of all time. But if I had to choose the one you were going to deal me next, I'll take pocket aces every single time. But I am a little partial to 9-7 of clubs.
Charles A said, "Who's your favorite poker YouTuber?" The Trooper.
No, I watch Trooper. I used to watch Trooper, but he was the only one. Now I watch a little bit of Nemi, a little bit of Brad Owens. I watch a decent amount of Doug Polk. I really like Saul for Why. I prefer Saul for Why. And Rampage Poker, been watching him recently. He's a little bit different, new twist. He's just new, so I just kind of watch them all. But I need to make my own.
Oh, that's a good question. Garrett Cromer said, "How do you decide when to flip a Texas or a jig?"
So how do I decide when to flip a Texas or a jig? Basically, if the cover is extremely thick, a jig doesn't go in and out quite as good. If I'm fishing, like a dock or pole timber or maybe lay downs with big sparse limbs, a jig all the time, going to get bigger bites. But for the most part, if I'm flipping heavy cover, it's got to be a Texas rig. Illuminathan said, Phil Ivey or Phil Hellmuth. Well, Phil Hellmuth is like the best of all time tournament, player, and Phil Ivey is the best of all time cash game player. And I think cash games require more skill. So Phil Ivey for sure, 100%. Hampton Shoal, are you planning to watch the presidential debate tonight? Absolutely. I'll get my popcorn ready and watch this unfold. Is it already on?
I'm not sure.
I think it starts. I think it starts in just a few minutes.
JD said, "How do you sleep the night before big tournaments?"
After you practice for 3 15-hour days in a row, you can't help but sleep. You don't get off the water till dark every day, and then by the time you retie everything, you straight to sleep, 100%. Let's see. If you could only do poker or bass fishing, when you picking bass fishing for sure. Tyler Ramsey said that. I love to play poker. Poker is great because it's the only thing that gets my mind completely off bass fishing, because when I'm playing poker, I'm clocked in for 8 hours and I'm focused on what I'm doing. That's the only time I ever get that long of a break from bass fishing. But I'm taking bass fishing all day long, 7 days a week.
Debate starts at 8. So we got an hour.
So an hour and 5 minutes. Okay. Are you planning on stopping at the casino in Oklahoma Way to Fork? I would love to. I went to WinStar. Yeah.
It's so big.
I went to WinStar. We did good there. We did real good there. I love WinStar. Pretty awesome. Love that place. Who's your favorite practice partner? Hunter. Hunter for sure. Got to be Hunter.
Oh, the WinStar. That's where I did good, isn't it? Didn't I turn like quads at the WinStar?
Maybe.
I think I did.
I think so.
We need to go back there.
What's up, KW from the Upper Chesapeake Bass? Marcus Griffin. Been watching you since 40 Elite Days. Knew you'd be successful. Keep doing things. I appreciate it, man. Do you usually slack set with a jig like Gerald, or do you reel down them? Just curious, or if you saw one of yours that got off, could tell happened. So basically, if you think about this objectively, you take the hook of the jig. If you reel all the slack out and set the hook, the jig's going to go slower. If you don't set the hook, if you slack line them, the jig's going to go fast. I don't think it makes no difference at all, like none. I think you land I think you get the hook in the exact same amount. Problem I have, whenever I slack line, I get out of position more often than I do whenever I don't slack line. So the only argument I have to slack lining, those people that tell you to reel all the slack out, they don't got no physical evidence of how that helps. But whenever you slackline, sometimes you get behind yourself and you can't catch up to them. You lose more fish. That's why I try not to slackline. But I don't think it makes you lose any more fish.
That was Jerry that said, "Who's your favorite practice
I know,
partner?"
because I practiced with him. I knew who it was.
Somebody said something about their tackle warehouse order, but now I can't find it. I lost it. It said their tackle warehouse order was like at $1,000.
My Bass Pro order, Rod Bass Pro orders at $1,165. $1,165. If you mention any more equipment, my card will max out. Yeah, for real. I tell you that Metanium MGL, it's good, but it'll max that card out quick. Josh Dillon.
Oh, good.
Poker player and fisherman, you're a legend. What's the hardest part of fishing Chickamauga? Tricky chick, give it the good work. It's basically just how tough it gets, man. They get so dialed in on those small little threadfin shad. I'm talking about tiny little threadfin shad. They get so dialed in on it. I mean, it's just so hard. It's just so hard to make those fish bite. Lucas Hong said, do you recommend a big tuna hook for punching? I use a Gamakatsu super heavy cover hook. Pretty stout hook. But sometimes in real clear water and high driller or something like that, I'll go down to the regular Gamakatsu heavy cover hook. Just don't, crazy set the hook on them. But if you're fishing something super hard, where you got to pull the fish, out of the cover, you better use a super heavy cover hook. But a hydrilla, when you set the hook, it'll rip the actual grass and usually make you an alleyway. You don't need that heavy cover of a hook. But when you got to pull them out of the cover, you better have a stout hook.
A lot of people want to know if you have new sponsors.
We are getting some new sponsors for next year. It's going to be a good year for sure.
Mostly, a lot of them are the same from last year.
A lot of them are the same from last year. Overwhelmingly, it's going to be the same. We made relationships. We're going to continue the same way. But we are getting some new sponsors for next year for sure. And hopefully more and more to come, forever that we want to, go with. What angler do you look up to growing up or model your game after? I kind of fish my own style, but I always liked Ike and Ellie. I read his book when I was young. I kind of just liked them all. I really liked Thrift, those guys that just always caught them. But, for the most part, I kind of just always did my own kind of deal. What gear ratio do you use? Do you lose power torque as you go up in gear ratio? You do for sure lose power and torque when you go up in gear ratio, but I don't have any problem. I use an 8-to-1 gear ratio reel, and I set the hook when I've got a big bend in the rod, heavy load on the reel. I can still turn the handle fine. I don't have any problem. But you just have to lose torque because the gears are smaller, so you have to. But I don't have any problem, so I use 8-to-1 for jig fishing. You said you made a new rod. Johnny Weaver said you made a new rod for your jig. What length and action is? It's a 7'3" heavy, all titanium guys. It's a point blank. I've got a hook keeper on I like for a jig. Normal SK2 reel seat. It's awesome. Like, I love that thing. It's the best rod I've ever picked up in my life. Love that thing. JD said the tournaments you have won in practice, you're going to do good, or it's just random. Usually you kind of have a feeling. Usually you kind of know that the potential's there. It just kind of comes together in the tournament. But I've had some great practices where I didn't have great tournaments, but for the most part, I practice in a certain way where I don't really expose anything. So I just kind of am getting a few bites, and then in the tournament, I just get way more bites than I ever thought because I'm fishing more. So let's see what else we got. Favorite musician, John Berger said that. I got 2. Number 1, Eric Church. I got 3. Number 2, Kevin Gates. Number 3, Eminem. Eminem's my favorite, but you can't listen to his music every day. You can't listen to Eminem every single day. That ain't just vibe music. That's like, so can't listen to Eminem constantly. Have you bought a chip for Fort? Lance Vick and others makes a good chip. I have not. I was hoping there's a Lake Master chip, but maybe there's not. I need to get me one. I have no idea. Do you have any pre-tournament superstitions? I do not get gas in the morning before a tournament. It is not because of superstition. It's only because I don't want my hands to smell like gas. So basically, when I get off the lake, my last day of practice, I rig all my tackle. I tie everything on and everything. Put everything in the rod locker, and then I go get gas. I never want to touch a bait after I've touched the gas handle because I don't want my baits to smell like gas. So that's my only one.
Christopher Cobb said, have you been selecting a fantasy fishing team?
Christopher Cobb, I have not been selecting a fantasy fishing team. Hunter has been.
And I'm doing very well.
Yeah, she's kicking butt. What percentage are you? 97?
96.
96.5%.
It's because I've been picking Kyle every time.
You pick me every time. I told her to kick me off for the 2 smallmouth ones. She wouldn't do it. Oh, Mike Daly said, how did you catch the mega bag on Table Rock years ago? Just what section? Long Creek. I was in Long Creek. They all pulled up, and I was throwing a square bill on a jerkbait. So Long Creek it was.
Jeff said, do you have any pets?
22. You got 22 pets.
That's a bag.
So we do have a pet. We have a leopard gecko.
We do have a leopard gecko. You're going to want the Lake Master chip and Lance Vick Boat Lane chip for Lake Fork. So I better order one then. I better order one quick. What are you laughing at?
Derek Moore said, LOL at Matt.
What's the exact coordinates of your Table Rock big bag? Those fish, that was like 10 years ago. Them fish are probably all dead by now. They're probably floating down the bank somewhere right now. They're probably in a buzzard somewhere right now. Agree on the artist, K Gates, Eric Church. You can use a dig or jam knot or whatever it's called for fluorocarbon like I do. Should be using the same knot for mono or braid. I use polymer for braid, and I use a double pitsin for fluorocarbon exclusively. I only use a double pitsin for fluorocarbon.
Marcus said, hindsight 2020, you wish you didn't change your areas championship Sunday.
No, I don't regret that at all. That's why I didn't fish down there the first 3 days, is because I knew how hard it was to catch a keeper down there. But on day 4, I needed to catch a good bag just to move up 2 or 3 spots. And I had to catch a really big bag to move up enough to get another pay jump. And I had to catch a giant bag to win. So I wanted to fish for big ones, and that's what I did.
Get Lucky Fishing said, are you on keto? I saw you don't eat burger.
Get Lucky Fishing. I am kind of on keto, not really, kind of tentatively. I don't want to eat a ton of bread because obviously carbohydrates make you spike, and you have constant mountains and valleys of energy. So I try to just eat stuff that's a little more sustainable, has a lot more protein to it. I still eat some carbohydrates, but I make sure they all have a ton of fiber. And what that does is whenever you have carbohydrates and fiber, it gives you more of a plateau of energy for longer term. Whereas if there's no fiber in it, your body uses it real quick, and then you go back into a downward trend. So yeah, I just kind of try to just be as healthy as I possibly can. Mike Cooper, thoughts on your first classic? Ready to go. Ready to go. Just a regular tournament for me. I'm going to fish like any other tournament. Going to practice as hard as I can. Try to be as prepared as I possibly can. When you have pocket kings and ace flops and they bet into you, how often do you just fold? Not very often. Almost always call at least once. Sometimes we'll start to fold some on the turn. But on the flop, I am not folding pocket kings unless there's some crazy action. Where can I get some replacement guides? Mudhole, Jan's Netcraft. That's the best way to do it. I would recommend Fuji, obviously, but you can do whatever you want to do, but Fuji for Mudhole is the best way to do it. Does Bass have no information rule? Terry Triton said that. Yes, they do. As soon as a lake is on the schedule, I can not get any information from anybody except for other tournament anglers. So, yep. Melissa Erickson, what do you drink to stay hydrated on the water? Welcher. That's it. Water, water, water. I drink a bunch of them a day. Not as many as I should probably, but I drink a ton of water on the water. Zach Frank said, man, answer my question about getting started fishing bigger tournaments. I did answer that. Fish BFLs, 100%. The first stepping stone is fish BFLs. You'll qualify for the regional. You have a shot to go to the All-American. Then whenever you can afford it, you have to go to the Costas or the Toyota Series or the Opens. I would recommend the Opens. I think they're a better tournament. But that's what you have to do. Fish the BFLs until you feel like you're ready to make the investment and fish the Opens for sure. So that's cool. Which pro's wife did Hunter enjoy meeting? Ranger Bull said that. So all of them. She said they've been overwhelmingly nice. She likes all the pros' wives have been awesome to her. It's been cool. Cody Payton, do you think Bass Master will ever come to Lake Vidality? Well, as far as I know, there's only one hotel and it's got like 15 rooms in it. So ain't nowhere for everybody to stay there.
Somebody, AJ said, what do you bring on the boat to eat?
Okay. AJ Agro said, what do you bring on the boat to eat when you're on the water all day? Lots of beef jerky, some meat sticks. We got these cheese wisps that I've been eating a lot. And what else do I eat? That's about it. I eat a lot of beef jerky. Very expensive, but to me, it's the best way to get a lot of protein, keep your calories relatively down, and have energy for the longest time. So, Meek, how's it feel beating all those pros, who have all those sponsors, and you beat them? I don't take it personally. So whenever I see somebody, ahead of me or below me, I don't ever think, hey, I beat them or hey, they beat me. I just try to do the best I can, have the best result I can have every single tournament. Let's see. Smallmouth jerkbait, Brian Mullen said that. Spinner casting, always casting. I'll throw an 8-pound test, 6-pound test with a small little jerkbait on a casting rod for sure. Let's see. Benny Bass, how much would you say the total cost of fishing the Opens are? They're going to be somewhere around $10,000, $11,000 for 6 tournaments. So it's $6,000 just in entry fees because there's 4 events, $1,500 a piece. Plus you're going to have $1,000 to $1,200 or $1,300 for expenses for a week. So it's going to be somewhere around $10,000 to $11,000, $12,000 for a year, depending on what exactly you do. Let's see what's going on. What rattle trap rod specs? Marcus Griffin said that. So 2 things. If you want a grass rod, you don't want the moderate action rod. And the reason for that is when the grass gets tangled up on the bait, if the rod's too moderate, you cannot snap the bait out of the grass. So in my opinion, a grass rattle trap rod is a 7'3" medium heavy because you can literally snap it out of the grass. If you got like a medium moderate or something, you can never get the grass off. You're just going to, mess your bait up forever. So would you prefer a 7'6" heavy or a 7'3" extra heavy? Lucas Hoang said that. I use them both. I use them both for different things. Anything that I'm casting, I use a 7'3" extra heavy, like a swim jig or something like that. But if I'm flipping, I almost always go to the 7'6". Were you nervous or confident for your first elite event? I wasn't nervous at all. I wasn't on anything at all, which I never am. But for the most part, I feel like I had already made it there. Worst case I could do, I'm still in the elite series. So I wasn't nervous at all. Do you ever feel intimidated on the water? No, I never do. Eric Friday said that. I never feel intimidated on the water. I just always try to just piece it together, always working toward breaking something down. So never feel intimidated. Bass every day. So what's your favorite bait to throw in current? Probably a square bill. If I just had one, that's what it would be. Square bill all the time. Let's see. Frank Firestone said, have you decided if you're going to make a Kyle Welcher flipping rod and sell it? I'm going to make a bunch of Kyle Welcher flipping rods. It's just they might be exclusively for Kyle Welcher. They might not be for sale, but I've got a pretty bad one that's on the market right now. That sucker is awesome. Not on the market, in my boat. Got like 4 or 5 of them. Sucker's awesome. Lucas Pena said, how do you catch more fish on a jig? Basically, you just got to throw it more. It is a bait that you can catch them all the time, always. So, you just have to always keep it in your hand. You can throw it around literally anything. Grass, wood, rock, docks, everything you throw a jig. It just has to be one of the baits you throw all the time. What size line we throw with a swim jig? Lee G said that in clear water or a little bit of grass. 50-pound braid almost always. The reason for that is I shake the swim jig a lot, and that braid has no stretch. It gives that jig a jolt. Every time you shake it, it really jolts that jig. So that's why I use braid all the time for a swim jig. What size rod do you know you're skipping jigs? 7'3" heavy. Why do you snap and pop your Texas rig? This is why. When I'm bed fishing, basically I flip the bait in there in the bed. The bass noses down on it. If I shake it, they don't bite it. If I snap it up in their mouth, they bite it. So when I flip into the cover, I take my bait and I snap it. First time I snap it, because I feel like if the bass is looking at it and I snap it, they react to it. So that's why I snap my Texas rig the way that I do that when I'm flipping. So was that too much info? That was a little juicer right there, wasn't it? That might have been too much. We might have to take this video down too. Let's see. Glide bait setup. Forensic Fishing said that. I ain't got no idea. Head on over to Polynix channel or Carl Jacobson, because I ain't got no idea about no glide baits. Nothing. When the fishing is really tough, Fin Feathers and Fur Outdoors said, when the fishing is really tough, like it was on Chick, how you decide where the winning bag is? It was just in the grass there for sure. It was easy to figure it out there. It was in the grass. The problem is getting them to bite. So I went away from the winning bag and actually fished where I knew I probably couldn't win, but I knew I'd have a good event. So I didn't think I could catch them out of the grass. Let's see. One rod, NF Fish said, one rod, one reel, one bait for all year. What are you going with? 7'6" heavy, 60-pound braid and a frog. I ain't going to catch them 4 months out of the year, but I'm going to have a whole lot of fun the other 8 months. So I want to throw a frog all the time. Let's see. Get Lucky Fishing. Has Zone invited him to the show yet? Not yet. That'd be a cool one. That'd be awesome. Hampton Troll said, what's your advice to a high school tournament angler who has to fish out of a War Eagle John boat, 40 horse, and I lost it, 40 horse and something else?
I know they're going so fast.
Has to fish extremely clear water. Do you fish the way you want to fish? You can fish the bank. Just try to fish the obvious cover, you know. Let's see, like just lean on the shaky head, throw it to whatever's in the water you're normally fishing, drag it around, and just do you. Fish good water all the time. Don't waste any time running around, because you don't have a boat that's going to, run around very efficiently. So find a good area and milk it for all it's worth. Derek Moore said, don't take it down before I show my girlfriend you respond to my questions. All right, I'll leave it up for just a minute.
Somebody said, Joey, aka Stat Second, said every fisherman I see this weekend going to be snapping that lure.
Yeah, everybody's going to be snapping their dang Texas rig. They flip them in there, be shaking that sucker around like they drank too much coffee. So Marcus Griffin said, what water temps trigger the fall transition? What other factors tell you the transition has started? I don't believe in water temp at all. So I do believe in water temp a little, but for the most part, overwhelmingly, I believe in the length of the day. I can tell you every single year that the fish are going to spawn this one day, and the fall transition is going to start one day, and it don't matter what the water temp is, they're going to be on bed, and their fall transition is going to start. Where I'm at around here, it's almost always like October 25th, October 27th, somewhere around there, the bite actually gets good. And it gets super good November the 10th. It's phenomenal every single year. And the spawn starts around here always like March the 20th on some of the smaller lakes. On Eufaula, it always starts in early February. So I believe it's all about the length of the day makes the migration and makes them move. So that's my opinion on it. Uh-oh. Dalton Warrington said, Derek Morris, will take any offense when you said he's not as cute as Hunter. If he didn't know that by then, I didn't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but I mean, he should have already knew that. What advice for a guy trying to make it fish both opens or fish a open and coast stay close to home, fish both opens for sure, especially now they're doing the overall AOI for both opens. 100%, I think you have to fish both the opens. Your videos are pretty great. Keep making them. Thanks, Lucas Pena. I appreciate that. Let's see. Do you think, Bucky Morris, do you think jackhammer chatterbaits are worth a pretty penny? They are. There's a time and a place where they are the best chatterbait to throw for sure. 100%. I agree 100%. Let's see. Bass every day, wide gap or straight shank hooks, and whatever one. Why? I don't use a wide gap at all. 100%. You take your wide gap hook, turn on its back, hook gap like this, the line tie and the hook point, the line tie gets in the way of the hook point. You can rub it on the back of your hand. I don't use a wide gap at all. Straight shank all the way. I want to use a straight shank for everything all the time as much as I possibly can. He said, Kyle, thank you. Joey, aka Stat Stackers. Kyle, thank you and Top Fish Deals for this Q&A session. Been super fun and educational. Appreciate everybody stopping by. It's been a good one. Always got to thank Top Fishing Deals. It's been an awesome year. 100%. Thank Top Fishing Deals. Terry Triton, payout for Rookie of the Year, if anything. I've heard a few varying things, but for the most part, I do not think that he pays anything. So, well, I don't know. What was you showing me? PB Spotted Bass?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5-pounder caught on a frog on Lake Mitchell. I was talking about that just a minute ago. For sure. 5-pounder on a frog. I can't see it. Oh, Friends of Fishing asked that. Yeah. Eric Friday said, if you were culling, what 3 baits would you use? Shaky head, wacky rig, buzzbait. Or wacky rig, shaky head, square bill. That's probably better. Square bill, shaky head, wacky rig. That's it. All year long, period. That's all you need. Let's
Some
see.
people have asked if the Rookie of the Year pays anything.
I just said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Have you found the perfect wacky rig hook? Yeah, it's a Gamakatsu stinger hook, size number 1 or a 1/0. That's one I use. I think it's called like the BLN stinger hook. It's a phenomenal wacky rig hook. It's my favorite one. Sherry Barnes Amaral said, are you going to start selling your rods? Not yet. I may do that some this year, but not yet. I have not yet. Bucky Moore, favorite Lake Harding bait, my favorite lake to fish. Yeah, my favorite Lake Harding bait's a small little jig, a skip around docks. There's so many docks on Harding. They got so many fish on them. Best way to fish that lake. Let's see. What was the pattern from Santee Cooper and Fort Mysterio? It was all about fishing the trees that had the current breaks. I was fishing up in the swamp, up in the upper end of the swamp. And there was like meandering current in the backwaters of the swamp off the river. And whenever I'd find the right trees, have the right current breaks, I could usually pitch a frog up there, pitch a sink up there, and get a bite or two. Yep, I agree. Zach Franz said, I thought you said Brandon Pollock's best all-around angler elites. 100%. He's a very, very good angler in the elites. He may be the best all-around angler in the elites, for sure. Garrett Cromer, tip for West Point Lake, big spotted bass. I ain't got no idea how to catch a big spotted bass on that lake. I avoid them at all costs. I do not fish for spotted bass ever. So, not on that lake. I fish for largemouth only, but you have to fish the GLL winter trail spotted stuff. You have to fish the, for spotted bass. I understand that. Somebody told me hello 18 times and bye once. So, Forensic Fish said, any ideas 2021 elite schedule? I have no idea what's going to come from the 2021 elite schedule. I'm ready to see it, though, for sure. They don't tell us until it's ready to go. Would really catch a 6-pound smallmouth with a whopper plopper or 10-pound bass on a frog. 10-pound bass on a frog. It ain't even close. 100%. And I'd like to catch a 10-pound largemouth on a frog in one of them smallmouth tournaments and weigh that big sucker in. That's what I want to do. Cade Smith, trying to play some poker tomorrow night. $100 buy-in. Send me the address. Let's go. Send it to me. Let's roll. Luke Hudson, he's fishing Lake Hardin today. I was fishing Lake Hardin today. I definitely was. What is the power and length of your jig rod? 7'3", heavy, fast. Benny Bass, you should talk to Point Blank and Fuji, make a package deal to make your own rods, a good deal, name one or something. That is a good idea. We definitely could make a package like that. That'd be awesome. But they don't sell the actual products themselves, so it might be a problem. Are spectators going to be allowed at the Classic? I hope they are. I definitely hope they are. It wouldn't be the same Classic without the spectators, so we need the spectators to be there.
That was pretty much the last thing we did before COVID.
The Classic, that was the last one before COVID, yep.
Or that was the last event.
Let's see. Do you like the Berkeley Chapo? Never used it. That's Hampton Shoal again. Never used the Berkeley Chapo. Never have. Garrett Cromer, any tips to catch a big West Point largemouth? Not a real big one, but me and Hunter caught a 20-pound bag this year fishing Main River Wood with a swim jig and flipping.
Where on West Point?
Yep.
I caught some of the fish for our bag too.
We caught almost 20 pounds in a Wednesday nighter, almost 20, and Hunter did catch one of the good ones, one of the dang good ones. Jeff Gurney, got a beef jerky sponsor in the works. I do not. David Orr says Austin Felix that sleepy. He looks pretty dang sleepy to me. I can't tell you for sure, but he looks pretty dang sleepy. I appreciate that, Lucas. He said, when my jigs come out, I'm going to buy 10 of them. I appreciate that. Twinbird, Sherry Barnes said, what do you think of the Humminbird 360? It's crucial. You have to have it. It shows structure extremely well, and you have to, you have to use it. So 100%. What do you think? 10 more minutes?
However long you want to go.
10 more minutes.
You can't stop till the question stops.
Y'all, I think y'all got plenty of questions. So my wife, Kyle, my wife for some crazy reason is vegan. Can you tell her that she is actually crazy? I'm the only one who thinks so. Name is Hannah. Y'all are awesome to watch. Keep it up. Look, I know better than to tell anybody's wife they're crazy. So no, I ain't doing it. You can tell her for me, but I ain't telling nobody's wife's crazy. Are you getting a new boat? I am getting a new boat. Yes, I am. What are your side scan singular rants if you have one? Because I just got one. I do not have the rants. I have a Humminbird, and you have to change it for every single bottom composition. So you have to change the contrast and the sensitivity if you're on sandy bottom, clay, rock. You always have to be changing it and just tweaking it. Kate Smith, need to skip a tutorial. Your frog skipping maniac. I'm definitely a maniac, but fish don't seem to like the frog too bad when I do skip it. But it works every now and then. Sean Lay said, how do you break down a new lake? It's not easy. It's tough. These lakes are huge. There's usually small areas where that always hold the fish. So it's very difficult to find the magic spots. But we are trying to, just figure out what's the best spots on the lake and kind of what's the pattern. So you don't have to break down the whole thing. You just kind of have to unlock just enough. You've got something you can run around and duplicate all over the place. So I don't usually try to break it down too much. I just try to see as much of it as I can and, find out what's the best.
PB Largemouth is 10-2.
PB Largemouth is 10-1. 10-1. PB Largemouth 10-1. I don't know who said that. But let's see. You going to take over NF Fishing? You going to take over Dean Ross on being the frog guy? Hope so. Hand me the what was the thing? Pass me the torch. I will hold the frog down on the Elite Series. I do not. Hampton Shoal said, do you pull your truck with a diesel truck? I do not. And I think diesels are great, but I don't need to. The boat's not that heavy. If I was going to get a camper and everything, I would definitely use a diesel. JR Early said, where you guys fishing next? We're going to Lake Fork, November the 5th, headed straight to Lake Fork. Landon Farmer said, you still run canine braid? I do still fish canine braid all the time. I love canine braid. That's what I use all the time. Are you ever going to get a Panoptics? Johnny Weaver said that. Yeah, next year we will have a Panoptics before we go fish for smallmouth. 100%. Jesse Boyd said, do you think a frog catches bigger bass than a buzzbait? I actually think a buzzbait probably catches bigger fish, but they both catch really, really big fish. Connor Jansen said, what was your first ever sponsorship? My first ever paying sponsorship was a JMT machine shop. As soon as I qualified for the elites, he wanted to be on board instantly. Shout out to him. Shout out to JMT Machine Shop. If you need anything done machine shop wise, check out JMT Machine Shop. First ever real sponsor. Let's see. Zach Frank. Coming off back-to-back top 10s, got me 3 in a row. Lake Fork top 10, that's the goal. 100%. We have to get a top 10 on Lake Fork. Shane Hamilton said, favorite Chatterbait trailer. Got 2 of them. Like the Yamamoto Zaco, and then I like the Reaction Innovations Little Dipper, 3.5-inch Little Dipper. That's my 2 favorite Chatterbait trailers. So that's it. Eric Friday said, during practice, do you fish the whole lake or just an area? I fish the entire lake. I try to see as much of it as I possibly can and then come back in the tournament and really dissect it and figure out exactly what's all in the same area. So Kyle Hines said, how do you go about getting sponsors? Well, 2 ways. You can call them or they can call you. And I'll tell you that most of the time, sponsorships worth having, they kind of call you. That's just kind of how it works. They kind of know. All these people have marketing media guys that know what's going on in the world, in the fishing world. So they kind of already have their eye on you. So they kind of come to you most of the time. Let's see. What's your first type of adjustment when your pattern dies off? Depends on the lake. First thing I try to do is just, if I'm not catching anything at all, I make a complete 180 run to another area of the lake. But my first adjustment is I kind of start leaning on current most of the time, or, I just depends on the lake. I try to find more isolated stuff that sticks out more, stuff that's a little bit deeper. Anything that's I feel like it's going to hold fish more often than not. That's what I try to do, is just try to get more isolated or deeper or just more special things. So that's what I try to do when my pattern dies off. I do not Colby Shooping I do not throw an A-rig at all. It's illegal in the elite, so I don't even throw it at all. Let's see. Favorite buzzbait setup: 7'3", medium heavy, fast. Throw a buzzbait on that most of the time, and I usually put a horny toad on back with buzzbait. Let's see what else we got, Hunter. Find us another good one. Todd Gray, scale pointer getting hard to fish. Chick fish made me feel a little better about my slow days. Really saw the elite weights. Terrible, dude. It's so hard to get a bite. Elites was, that leg was probably like a 3 out of 10, maybe a 2 out of 10. It was so hard to get a bite. I'm talking about you couldn't get a bite for nothing. Like it was extremely difficult. Jay Casey 88 said, "Do you have any experience at Fork?" I have no experience at Fork. Never been there. Watching videos on it. Terrell Coates, I appreciate all the comments all the time. He said, "What does it feel like to be one of the best anglers in the elite field?" And what does it feel like to be the wife of a top angler? I don't think I'm one of the best in the elite field, but I do think I've had a good year and it's worked out. So it's been good for sure.
Since we started dating, I thought I was dating the best fisherman in the world. So it hasn't really changed for me.
Never changed for her. It's always been that way for her. Best buzzbait throw, I'm never going to run straight. I use the Dirty Jig Scott Canterbury Pro Buzz. That's the one that I use for sure. So Garrett Cromer said, "I'm 14 years old. What are some good cause to pursue a pro fishing career?" Marketing. Marketing. That's all you want is marketing. That's the deal for sure. Start a YouTube early. Some type of social media. I want to hear Dave Mercer, Kate Smith say giant bass and he went into class this year.
He did say that on St. John's.
I want to hear that too. I want to hear that as well. 9.5 pounder or something like that. K13 Bang said that Hunter teach you the hammer hook set. She did for sure, 100%. Bass and Nick said, "Why a Ranger?" A Ranger just been the best boat for a long time, and they're still, up there, one of the best. I know some people are hate on Ranger, but they've been one of the best forever. So that's just how they are. That's I'm running 70, 72 miles an hour, so it's not slow, and rides extremely smooth, handles big waves, tons of storage. I like the way they're laid out. So that's why I fished with a Ranger this past year.
Blair said, "How have you enjoyed fishing Untamed tackle jigs this year?"
It's been awesome, especially my new one. My new one is a daggum awesome little sucker. It's a little nugget, man. Little fish catching nugget. Caught a 611 on that sucker for sure. Prototype one. I only had 1 or 2 left, and I caught a 611 on it. That's pretty good. Let's see. What's your PB Smallie? Mine's 5.2 at 22.5 inch in Lake Cumberland. I think I caught I think mine's about 5.2. I think I caught it in practice in St. Clair. I think I caught one that was like 5.28 or something like that. So right about there with yours, almost exactly. William Law said Mercer's been exposed to COVID. I don't know about that. I haven't heard about that, but I don't know. Let's see. He said, "Tell him to tackle." Oh, he said, Benny Bass said, "Dude, I can't wait to get my hands on when you get the jig out. Can't wait to get the jig out." Might can pre-order so that whenever you as soon as they get in, they'll instantly ship out. We might can set up a way to pre-order. So the day they come in, everybody that wants them, they would ship out the exact same day they come in. So we might can get them to pre-order, not because they're trying to take your money early, because we'll get them to you even sooner. So maybe that's the deal. Charles A., your new jig going to have silicone or living rubber skirt. We're working on finding the right rubber, but the first ones for sure are going to have silicone, but I do want to find some rubber ones and mix that in. So definitely. Stephen Guthrie said, "How many kayaks fish from New Gunnersville?" Only one. I was in the extremely swift current for most part, so it'd be tough to hold that kayak there. But some do got trolling motors on kayaks now, so. Kate Smith said that random bit of you in your last video talking about electronics, then panning down to the cover on the Humbird was hilarious. I agree. Thought that was funny. Fished Cumberland last year in November. Caught them flipping a jig and throwing square bill around log jams that had rolled down the bank into the water. Do something for pre-release for your followers for the jig. We could do that for sure. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I had to twist Untamed's arm too much for that. So we can get definitely get a pre-release date or pre-order so it'll be working. If you had to choose a rod brand other than the one you use now, which one would you pick? Probably, gosh, I think it's called Power Tackle out of Texas. Power Tackle, I can't remember, but they use point blank blanks and Fuji rod components, so it'd be the exact same rod I've got now. So if I had to choose a rod brand, I think it's Power Tackle. I think it's what it is. That's what I'd use for sure. What kind of pattern we have in local lakes, Oliver? There ain't no pattern right now. You just cover water with a bunch of different baits and try to catch as many as you could. Let's see. Jeff Gurney said, don't forget the hats, Kyle. One of those Untamed tackle hats. We can get those. We can get those for sure. What's the best? Todd Grace, what's the best circuit to start tournament fishing besides small club tournaments, big center BFLs? BFLs are the way to go. They are the staple of local tournaments for sure. That's the way to do it. Kenny Hilton said, hey, like the new motor guide. I've got some hate on that thing being loud in videos, but it's really not loud. Like, I have it on literally 100, and I'm going almost 3 miles an hour. It's the dash cam. It's the dash cam mount that makes it seem loud. Let's see.
Well, how do you let the power pole charge?
Power pole charger is unbelievable. This year on St. Clair, after day 1, I literally forgot to charge my batteries. I charged them for 45 minutes the morning before the tournament, and then idled around for 30 minutes, and my batteries never went dead. The power pole charger is unbelievable. For sure, it's awesome. Let's see. Don't worry about the haters. I never, ever do at all. Lower Alabama Bass, you ever fished the Alabama Bass Trail? I did. I fished the Alabama Bass Trail for 2 or 3 years. I made the Bassmaster team championship from that, and you know, that's definitely a great thing to do. J.R. Early said, do sponsors pay for your boat wrappers out of your pocket? It just depends on the way you want to word it, you know. That's what you have to do. I mean, I could get somebody to pay for the boat wrap, and they're probably going to pay me less money. So, you know, it doesn't really matter that much, but that's just how it is. Terry Triton said, it is loud. The same vibration goes through the hull to the water. Yeah, but I think all trolling motors are exactly the same. I've fished with all of them. They all make the same noise as far as whenever I'm running them. They all seem to make the same noise. So I don't believe any of them are quieter. I literally do not. I've never used Daiwa Tatula reels. John Weaver said, I like that striker shirt you got on. Is it a UV shirt? I don't know what UV means. You mean does it like block the sun? I don't know. This is the striker high tide hoodie. And you know, that's one I wear all the time. What does UV mean? Ultraviolet? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it's sunblock. Yeah. This does have that. Yeah, it does have that. It's a little bit more orange, not in the video. It's like a more like a brighter orange color.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I like it a lot. But this is the high tide hoodie. Let's see what else we got. What camera should I get because I started YouTube? You just got to find one that works for you. I wanted one where I could take the battery out just in case, you know, the battery went bad on the camera. I could remove the battery. So I got the GoPro Hero. That's all it's called. The GoPro Hero came out in 2018. So that's one that I would get if I was you. Brian's Fishing Adventures, Trump or Biden. Trump, but it's hard to vote for an 80-year-old. I don't care who it is. I don't know why we're voting for 80-year-old presidents. It don't make a lot of sense to me. Whenever people retire at 65 and they're going to run the country at 80, but whatever. I know. That's just what we've got. So whatever. What do you think of the FOW name change from J.R. Early? Doesn't matter to me. Big Five. It does. You know, they are fishing for 5, and they think it might be a marketing deal. It may be. You know, that's the thing is they're trying new things. They think it's going to be better. You can't be mad about that. You know, they're not doing it because they hate FOW. They're doing it because they think it's a better way to brand. I'm all for it. You know, they're trying to do better. Harold Rogers said, "Hey, quit knocking us old folks." I'm just saying they. I don't understand why people retire at 65, run for president at 80. You stay with Bass next season. I'm staying Bass for season after season after season after season. You believe in the color red in the spring? If so, why? Yes, crawfish are extremely bright red, and they are all out, and the bass are feeding on them big time in the spring. Garrett Gromer said, 14-year-olds worth good for college degrees to pursue pro fish career. Marketing. That's why I answered that one already. Marketing. That's what you need to do. Where do I get the wire and harness for the 360 Humminbird unit back to the battery? I would go ahead and get the C Clear power harness. It'll be the easiest way to wire everything up. I'm not sponsored by them, but you can wire everything from the main battery all the way to the front with a cord, and every single power thing can go into the same connector. Really cool way to go. So Don G said, do you throw any balsa baits? I do. I do throw balsa baits a lot early in the year. Johnny Weaver, can you fish FOW Super Tournaments? I cannot. I am not allowed to fish the FOW Super Tournaments, but, you know, I would if I could for sure. Lower Bama Bass, what do you think about the National Professional Fishing League next year? I hope they do well. I really do. I hope they really, really do well. And I want them to succeed. I'm not interested in fishing it, but whatever. Thoughts on Luz? Luz makes good reels for sure. Captain Fluffy D said, what's your mono reels do you own? I have the Corrado 50, Corrado 70, Chronarch MGL, Metanium MGL. I have some of the old cores, best reel ever made. The cores are awesome. Mr. Greenwood said, how do you like fishing Guntersville? Congratulations on your finish. Love Guntersville. I hated it at first. Now I think it's a pretty cool lake. Never fished it before. How long did it take you to learn Alabama Shake? Not long at all. Kind of just what I always liked to do, for sure. Always liked fishing it that way. Hampton Shoal said, do you have any one-of-a-kind crankbaits? I do not have any that I consider special. I think, you know, they're all about the same. TYFPV said Bass Opens or BFL or Toyota Series. So the BFL does not fit in there with the other two, but I would say Bass Opens, and then the BFL is a lower tier than those two. Would you recommend FOW or Bass Opens for somebody in their second, third year of competitive fishing? Kate Smith said that. I'd say Bass Opens because you do somehow qualify, you're already there. Wade Baker said, Welcher, what's your deal against biscuits? I really want to like you, but I'm against serial killers. Biscuits are phenomenal. Biscuits taste great. It's just bad for you, man. They're just terrible for you. I am effectively, this is going to sound terrible, I'm kind of like a professional athlete, kind of. So I can't be eating stuff that's terrible. Heavy on the kind of. Can't be eating stuff that's terrible for my body. So just can't do it. I'm out there practicing 15 hours a day, 3 days in a row. That bread just slows you down, man. Let's see. Brian, he just said, fish the ABT will be next year. I'll pay for it. I'll have 2 fish learn for tea. I'm not allowed to fish the ABT. Love them over there. Love a lot of people that fish the ABT, but I'm not eligible to fish it. So Wade Baker said, some say whiskey's bad for you as well. I can't believe somebody'd say that. That's weird.
What?
Did you like Pride Rod from Trent Lawson? I did. Pride Rod, they use very high quality blanks. They use Fuji components, Fuji reel seats, you know, Fuji cork. Very good. But, you know, ended up just, I think the point blank blanks are a little bit better than the North Fork. I get to build them to my exact specs. So Marcus Griffin said, buzzbait, plopper, buzz frog preference. Number 1, buzzbait. Number 2, buzz frog. Number 3, plopper. So Jacob Brent said, what made you pick Top Fishing Deals over other companies? What made them stand out to you? They have an interesting concept that's different than every other company. They are trying to bring you all the sale items on the internet. They're not just trying to, you know, make you buy their product. They're trying to save you as much money as possible as they can. So I thought it was awesome. I thought it was just a great way to, you know, to expand them, expand me, and I thought they had a good concept. So that's why. Let's see. All that greasy food and whiskey will keep passed out. We'll keep passed out on them long, hot days. Yeah, greasy food and whiskey, you'll be passed out on about 3 o'clock in the evening on practice. Blake Horton said, how late in the year can you catch them on a frog? You can catch them all year round on a frog. I've caught them in December. I've caught them in, you know, January. I've caught them all over the time. So I've caught them all year round on a frog. But for the most part, there's a time in the year where it's no longer the best application to catch the fish. That's usually second, third week of November. By the 1st of December, it's almost never the best, you know, way to catch a fish. So, have you ever broke a Pride rod or a point blank rod? Yeah, Trent Law said that. Absolutely, for sure. I broke them all. I step on them. I slam them in compartment lids. I break them with the trolling motor. Yeah, I broke them all. Let's see. Sherry Barnes Amaro said, what kind of batteries do you have, please? I have AGM 31 interstates, and I also have some Dakota lithiums that I'm about to put in the boat right now. All right. Zach Frank said, man said 10 more minutes, 25 minutes ago. Yeah, exactly. So few more questions. We're getting off here at 1 hour and 40 minutes. So let's see. When's the jig coming out? January. Since you're about to end this live, seriously, poker tomorrow, cash game. We are fishing comparison to you, but I would bet on it. Where are y'all playing at, Cade? Where's the game at? Let's see. Coolest guy you've been on tour so far? Who's the coolest guy? They're all cool. They really are. They're all awesome. They really are for sure. All right. I appreciate it, guys. One more time, shout out to Top Fishing Deals for putting this together. Appreciate it. They shouted out. They got everything together for this one. Got the animations done. Shout out to Top Fishing Deals for the entire year. I appreciate all y'all stopping by. So shout out to all of y'all. And no problem. Everybody saying thank you for sitting down doing this. I appreciate it. No problem. Glad y'all could come by. Glad y'all stopped by. Enjoy it. If y'all liked this, check out Top Fishing Deals because they're the whole people that put this together. So appreciate it, guys. I will holler at y'all at the next one. I only did this because all my last tournaments, I haven't been able to answer all the questions that y'all been having. So hopefully I answered a lot of them this time. Please keep bringing in the comments. Keep watching all the videos. I appreciate it. New video coming back up tomorrow.
Time to watch the debate.
Day one, St. Clair, Santee Cooper. Day one, Santee Cooper, up tomorrow on the channel. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn the alerts on right now. We'll see y'all. Appreciate it, guys. In stream.